Hey, it's Kev, back with another video for you. This time we're going to do this simple thing. It's like simple and stupid, but it's really cool, and I've seen it in films and TV, so like why not try to do it in Blender? So let's go. So this is cloth, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this stuff because I don't want it. And let's make the cloth. So to do that, I'm going to just hit Shift A, and I'm going to go to Mesh, and I'm going to say Plane, and I'm just going to say, I don't know, let me see, Scale, 2 on the Y, and 1.5 on the X, and then 90 on the Y for rotation, and that's probably pretty good. I think I'm gonna go with that. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this guy and I'm gonna like zero him out. I'm gonna zero him out, and he sits there. And I'm gonna pull him back, and I'm not gonna bother using like keyboard shortcuts for this. I'm just gonna use this. It's a personal preference right now, just because it's easier for videos. But you know, feel free for your keyboard shortcut. You know, whatever. You all know the keyboard shortcuts by now, or you don't. And you know, whatever. So anyway, here we have the camera, and I'm gonna put the camera in front. So we just basically gave the rotation 90. Negative 90 on the X, 180 on the Y, and negative 90 on the Z. So it's definitely pointing down the X-axis toward our cloth. So that's cool. I have that set up. So now let's make the cloth, because that's like the exciting part, right? So to do this, cloth likes two things. It likes relatively high subdivision surfaces, or you know, relatively high geometric resolution, and it seems to like triangles more than anything in Blender. It doesn't need it, but they seem to work better. So anyway, let's do that. So to do that, I'm going to give this a subdivision surface modifier. So the first thing I do, and here's a keyboard shortcut, I just hit Control 3, or you can just go over here and say Add Modifier, type in sub D, and there you go, subdivision surface, there you go. So you got it, right? So it gives you this modifier, and that's cool, right? I got Catmull Clark and levels, viewport, and render, right? I usually want these to match. If they don't match, then like bad things happen. So make sure these match. So I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna say 3 and 3, and I'm gonna say simple. And I think what I'll do for this is I'm just gonna hit apply. And what that does is it just applies the subdivision, and it gives me this. So maybe I'll hit Control Z, and I'll do maybe 2 more. So 5 and 5. You don't really need this. You just kind of need one of these to work for this. And then I'm going to apply this, and there we go, right? So that's probably a good place to start. So now what I can do is I can start my cloth simulation. So to do that, I'm going to go over here to physics, and I'm going to say cloth, and then I'm going to hit play, and you're going to see that happen. And you're like, well, why does that happen? It's because there's gravity, and cloth falls. I mean, do that. Like, grab a piece of cloth and drop it and see what happens. Like, unless you're on the International Space Station, it's probably going to fall. So what we can do is we can actually pin it. Okay, we can tell it, like, we want it to sit in a certain place, and we don't want it to move from that certain place. But it'll move everywhere else, except we can like pin certain parts. So to do that, it's really easy. We just hit tab, and we make sure that we're on points. And I'm just gonna go ahead and grab like these 3 over here, maybe these 3 down here. I'm just holding down shift to select more, right? These 3, and then I can't see that, so I gotta move, right? These 3 here. And I'm just gonna say Control G. That's a keyboard shortcut, and it says assign to new group. Yes. So I hit Control G, I get this, I hit this, and yes. So what happened? If I hit tab again and I hit play, absolutely nothing, right? Well, that's kind of annoying. But we actually didn't tell it, okay? We didn't tell it to pin, so we have to do that. So in order to do that, we just go over here, we're back on our cloth properties, we just scroll down until we see shape. And we go to shape, because that's clearly where pin group should be. And we say, okay, so there's pin group. We just click on this, and oh look, group. That's the thing we made. That's the group. Click on that, and now if I hit play, check that out. Ooh, it's like magic. It's like invisible hands holding up the cloth, and that happens. That's happening because gravity. But you can see it's pretty cool, right? Now, we're not getting too much deformation because we don't have a very high-res cloth object yet, but we will. So the next thing I want to do is I want to give it some more resolution. Okay. Now you could have just left the subdivision surface and just turned it up to like some crazy number. I just like to give it, you know, a base first and then go in and do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to modifiers, add subdivision, or I mean add modifier, right? Search. Subdivision is the last one we did, so it should be at the top of the list. We hit that. And I'm going to say simple, and this time I'm going to say 2 and 2. And that's going to give me some more resolution, right? But I don't want the cloth to happen and then the subdivision. I want the subdivision to happen then the cloth. So I'm just going to click on this little thing here and move him up so he sits on top, okay? Because it goes from top to bottom, okay? In order of importance, we want the subdivision to happen first, then we want the cloth to be applied. So I hit this now, and you'll see it moves slower. That's normal. The reason it's moving slower is because there's a heck of a lot more polygons in here. You don't see them right now, but trust me, they're there. Okay, so that's fun. And lastly, over here, after subdivision, I can go and I can add what's called a triangulate, which I actually have up here, but you can just type in like and you have triangulate, right? So there it is. And then we just pull the cloth beneath that, right? And if I hit play now, it's going to move just a little bit slower. But you can see we're getting like some nice wrinkles in here and stuff. It kind of likes this triangulated mesh, okay? So that's cool, right? We have cloth happening, and we like it. So what do we do with that? We can add some wind. Let's do that now, because we don't want us to just do that. That's kind of boring, right? We want wind going through here. We want to feel the wind through our cloth. So let's go to add, and let's go to force fields, and let's just say wind, and you get this thing that comes in. Okay, it's just like this concentric. It's not even concentric. It's like stacked circles and an arrow and this thing and whatever, right? So I'm just gonna go to the rotate tool, and I'm gonna turn it to about there, and then in the power, so under physics, we have wind, right? And then shape is plane, that's fine. Strength, I'm going to turn it up to something stupid like 5,000. Okay, if it's too much, I'll know, like right off the bat when I hit play. But if I don't put it this high, then I could be sitting here waiting for like 150, frame 150 for me to see anything. And who has that time? So let's do that. Hit play, and let's see if the wind actually starts doing anything. It does. Okay, we can start seeing that this is happening. We're starting to get some wind coming through here. Cool. Yeah, that's happening. All right, we're getting wind. Okay, so it starts like around 70. You'll see it starts really picking up. It's like cumulative, right? It takes a while to start. So we can you can push this up even higher and see if that does anything. 15,000, sure, why not? Let's try 15,000. What does 15,000 give me? Oh, yeah, I like 15,000. That's really pushing it. Look at that. It's starting a lot sooner, giving me some nice wave. And you know what? This is kind of annoying for you guys, right? So I'm going to turn on this. Oh, look, that looks way better. Sorry, guys. So here we go. Oh, yeah, look at that. We're getting some really nice. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's really nice, right? And you're inevitably going to see these, like, squared off things, right? This looks like crap, right? So you just select this, right click, and just say shade smooth, and it goes away. It just smooths out the normals. I'm not going to get into normals with what they are with this, but for those who know, they know, and for those who don't, you'll learn. So there we go. Not needed for this, but look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, so what do we do now? Well, we kind of have our cloth going. That's kind of fun, right? So we don't want to keep having to wait for the cloth to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and say start frame, end frame. I'm going to say end frame 180. That's a good amount of frames. And I'm going to go back to the physics tab, which I'm on, and I can say cloth now. There's settings for cloth. So I want silk. So I'm going to hit this little button here, and then I'm going to say silk. And I'm going to hit play and see what it does. It should behave more like silk. I'm getting these nice ruffles. I'm getting this tight control, right? I'm getting this. Yeah, look at that. That's what I want. I want these like. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's what I want. That's gonna make a much more interesting looking animation. Cool. I'm getting these like little kind of eddies over here, like eddies. I don't know what they call, like little creases. Right? So that's cool. So what we'll do now is we're gonna bake this, okay? Because we don't want to keep playing this. It's gonna, like, if we do this for all our tests every time we like set lights and do all the rest of the stuff in here, like, this is gonna take forever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bake this, and to do that I just go here to let me see, I'm on this, right? So I select my plane and I go to cloth and I expand cloth. Okay, that's under the physics tab, and all the way down here I have something called cache. So I'm gonna hit cache, or cache if you want to be fancy, and I'm gonna say, okay, start frame is 1, end frame is 250. I set that to 180 down here, so I'm gonna have that match. And I'm not gonna worry about disk cache right now, but you can turn that on if you want to like manage it and have it go to disk cache, but it does a decent job of managing this for what we need right now. So I'm just gonna hit bake, and once you hit bake, you're gonna see this start playing. And this is cool because it just keeps going and going and going until the end. But what you see here is this little blue line, right? This dark blue line. That means it's baking. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to come back when this is done, and I'm going to show you what it did. So watch this. I hit play now, and it's playing almost real time. Actually, it is playing real time, 24 frames a second. Look at that. That's because it's cached. Okay, all the frames are baked, so you can like do this, go, and it's not killing your system. It's not doing anything. It is just playing, and that's exactly what we want. Great, that's cool. So if we hit 0 now, we can go into the camera view, and we could see that we are. I don't want this in the frame. So let's just take the camera and we can move them forward a little bit. And we'll just make sure that like all the action happens in here. And let's see what we get. Yeah, we're getting some cool stuff. We're not getting anything in the frame. We want to check, make sure nothing dips for the whole animation. That's looking pretty good. Looking pretty wild, actually. Yeah, it's like a big windy day. Cool. So that's fun, right? So the camera's set. The effect is set. Let's save our scene. And now what I can do is I can set up the effect, right? Because that's what you came to see. You didn't come to see like setting up a camera and all that. You came to see like the cloth and then the effect, right? So what I'll do is I'll just throw in a camera, not a camera. I'll throw in a light back here. So to do that, Shift A, and I'll just go light. Where are you? And I'm going to say spotlight. I want a spotlight, and I'm going to turn it so it's facing this, so -90. And on the X, I'm just going to pull them back. And then this little arrow thing, I can like click and drag and make, you know, the cone angle smaller or larger. Okay. And that's just controlling this size. Okay. This size is the cone angle, but like you have this cool little thing over here you can click and drag. So why not do it that way? So great. So now I have that, and I have a light coming through here. And let's see what it looks like. If I go to render view, we see nothing, right? So I'm going to do a video on EV 2.0. I'm not going to use it in this because I want to use cycles because the effect is cooler. So I'm just going to go ahead and use cycles for this. And we still don't see anything, okay? It still looks like garbage. So let's go into shading and set this up. So here we are in shading, and if I turn on the viewport shading, it still looks like garbage. So we're going to give it a shader. So let's go to this plane, and I can call this cloth now because that's what it is. And I'm going to hit new, and I get this principled BSDF. Now if I go to transmission and I turn the weight all the way up, we can start seeing that we're getting a bit of a light angle coming through here. So let's turn that light up. Let's make the strength a lot bigger. And while we're here, I happen to be on world. So I'm going to go in this color. I'm just going to turn the color down to black. Or you could just take this strength and turn it to nothing, and you get black. So now I can see the effect more. So I'm going to go back to spot, go to the light, and it's only at 10. I'm going to say 150. That's kind of cool, 150. Okay, kind of works. And let's like throw something in here so we could see a shadow. So let's go and throw in Suzanne, right? Mesh, Suzanne, monkey. The monkey's name's Suzanne. Like for those who don't know, it's like in the movie Mallrats from Kevin Smith. New Jersey. I don't know. There's also a Weezer song. It's on DGC Rarities, but that doesn't mean anything anymore. So just type in like Suzanne from Weezer. It's a good song. You're going to like it. Trust me. So then what we'll do is move this guy back, right? I'll move him back. And I'll rotate him front a little bit. Whatever. That's cool. And now you can see that I have a shadow happening. What I don't like is that I have all this Fresnel effect happening, which we're going to have a Fresnel effect happening, but this is not it. So with this, I'm going to say roughness. I'm going to turn the roughness up a bit. And now we're getting a little bit better. So let's go to 0 so we can go to the camera view. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that. So that's great, but it's really sharp. So to get it not sharp, we go back to light, okay, spotlight, and we have to change a few things. So we can change the radius, and that instantly softens it up. But like real life, okay, the closer I move Suzanne to the front, the sharper it gets, because it's, you know, it's the light's hitting and it's closer, so you're getting a sharper shadow. And the closer, you know, the closer it is to the light source, the larger it gets, because it's occluding more of the light, because the light's, you know, it's a cone angle, it's a circle, so you're occluding more, but it gets softer. So you just kind of want to find that happy place, and, you know, something like that. And then you can always control that more with the spot and go in spot size, not spot size. Oh, you know what? We can turn up spot size while we're here a little bit. We kind of want it to be a little bit bigger, and then the radius you can shrink or not. And if I hit spacebar now, you're gonna see it's gonna play, and you're gonna start seeing this cloth effect happening. And ooh, look at that! Ooh, oh, look at that. I like that, right? I'm making these weird noises. I know. Some of you are very annoyed. So that's all right. Cool. So we're getting this effect. Now, how do we make it look like silk, like cloth? Because this looks like garbage, and I mean, it kind of looks cool, but mostly garbage. So let's go ahead and turn on. We'll go back to this BSDF shader, and we're going to say, so we got our weight, and we want to give it a color first. So let's go ahead and say, like, this red color, because that's why you clicked on the thumbnail, because it looked sultry. And we're gonna give it some sheen. So let's find a place where we get some creases. Oops, I want some creases. There we go. There's some creases. And what I want to do is I want to turn on sheen, and I want to say weight. Let's turn up the weight a bit. And the roughness we can turn down a little bit. And now we're starting to get that look of silk. And then what we can also do, we can turn down the roughness a little bit, because silk has a sheen and has a bit of a shine. So we're getting that. We're starting to get that. So that's looking decent. Okay. Considering we don't have any other lights in the scene except that back one. So let's go ahead and put another light in the scene so we could start seeing some of the effect here. So what I'll do is I'll hit Shift A, and I'm going to go to light, and I'm going to say I will do an area light. Area lights are pretty good for this. Okay, so I could, oops. Where's my area? There it is. I can pull out the light here, and I can rotate it this way, maybe rotate it back a little bit, pull it out a little bit. You can see we're starting to really, you can see we're getting that cloth look, but this is still like really weak. So let's go ahead and make this like 150. Okay, we go in here and we're starting to see some of that sheen picking up. And let's just give it something like a teal color. Red and teal looks kind of cool, right? Okay, and there we go. We're starting to get that carry through. And you're going to see it more in motion, but this is going to be pretty cool. And then we can go back to the spot, and we can turn that up a little bit too. And then we can always play with the spot size. All right, we can bring that down. We can blend it a little bit more. Bring it up. All right, do the radius trick. And now as you play, you're starting to see it's starting to come together. Save our scene. And yeah, that's starting to get there. So what else can we do? Let's see. My spotlight. I can actually change the color of my spotlight. Maybe take the power back down a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I think I can sharpen this up a little bit. Yeah, not bad. Getting there. So now this Suzanne is kind of boring. So let's turn off Suzanne. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another thing that I grabbed off Mixamo. I know Mixamo is like totally cringe now because everybody and their mother uses it in their Blender videos, which is like 5,000 uploads a day. But just trust me, for this, it's going to look pretty cool. So I'm just going to go into File. I'm going to say Import, and I'm going to import the FBX that I downloaded off Mixamo. So now he's in. It's under Armature. And I'm going to throw him. It's just a robot dancing. So I'm going to throw the robot back here. Maybe I'll like turn him, or her, a bit. I was gonna use a woman for this, and then somebody very wise told me, yeah, probably not a great idea. I said, okay, I will listen to you, oh wise one. So here we go, and we got the dancer now doing the dance thing, and looks like a lot of twinning here. I'm not digging that for animation purposes, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn a little bit more. So I have the armature. I'm just going to turn it just a little bit more. It's a little more interesting. I don't get that twinning now. Now I get just like a cool dance move. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Ooh. And we can go and play with our cloth a little bit more if we want. So I can play with the roughness, bring the roughness down. So we're getting more of this. Okay, as this washes through, we're getting kind of more of that effect, and that's really cool. And then we can go ahead and say spot. Turn that up. Maybe like lower the radius a bit. And another thing we can do with the shader too is we can add in something to control the weight. So right now the weight is pretty stable. It's pretty solid. It's kind of boring. So I think what we can do here is we can take this and we can throw in like a converter color ramp and throw a color ramp, the color into weight for transmission. And you'll see black just goes completely opaque and white is completely translucent. And what I think we can do is we can control that with a layer weight. So let's go layer weight. Okay, we're going to take facing and we're going to throw that into the factor. And now we're just getting a little more interesting look in this. Okay, so you can kind of pull that in. And we're just getting a little bit more of this kind of really cool looking motion graphics wavy crap. All right. Not too bad. And we're getting that like really cool kind of trippy effect. This would be good for like DJ animations and you know, VJ loops and all that stuff you see at, you know, those super spreader events everyone goes to, those fun places or the raves and whatever. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you how to render this out now. So to render this thing out, you're just gonna go to let's see. And this is up on my Patreon too, if you guys want. I'm gonna put this up on Patreon. So it's super cheap. It's like $3 for Blender right now. So you know, if you want this, you can grab it. Just go up there and play around with it. Not really for commercial purposes, but like for your own stuff and learn from it and then make your own. So anyway, here we go. Let's go to, let's say I have CPU, but I can do GPU, and GPU is fast. If you have a fast GPU, this is really cool. It totally works. And I say samples like 4096. For this, you probably don't need that high. Maybe like 128 is probably good enough with denoising. If not, turn it up a little bit. And I definitely want some motion blur on there. And that's pretty good. I think that's workable. And then to render it out, I usually choose OpenEXR or OpenEXR multi-layer, and I usually go half for this because you don't really need 32-bit most of the time. 16-bit is usually more than enough. And that's kind of cool. Color management, I'm not going to worry about. I have this all set up to use ASUS, but you know, a lot of people like AGX, so have at it. And that's pretty good. And then the last thing I want to show you is like under wherever you save it, I'm going to type in like dancer. And then if you want to save a sequence of these things, you have to say 3 or 4 or 2 even, or just even one hashtag 1 2 3 4. So that's 4 number places .exr. Okay. And you can put a period, you can put a point here too if you want, and that will write out a sequential number sequence. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the numbers. Okay, it's not going to work. Or what you could do is instead of EXRs, you can choose FFmpeg and just write it to an MPEG video. It's fine. I mean, there's a number of different ways you can do this, but that's it. And then you know, you got something good. So anyway, hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.